The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rob Galvin. Thanks for joining us today on the November edition of Dev Talks. We're going to jump right into the topic of today. Today's topic is about Datawedge. So this tool has been around for a while, and fortunately, we have two great presenters to talk about it. We have Eddie Correa, who is working on the documentation for Datawedge, and he also does many other of our products, technical documentation. So you'll see some of his work out on Tech Docs. And then we have Tarindu, Tarindu, I'm sorry, I will not try to pronounce your last name because I know I'll fail big time. But Tarindu has been with the company for a long time and is one of the original engineers responsible for Datawedge. So great resources we have today to talk about this topic. We do have another Dev Talk coming up in December, so stay tuned for the appointment if it's not already up on the developer portal. And it'll be a printing related topic. And that'll be the last one for the year, so stay tuned for that. And like always, you can always find these presentations on developer.zebra.com. So without further ado, let's get into the presentation. Eddie and Tarindu, welcome. Eddie, I think you have the control of the presentation if you want to get started.
Thank you very much, Rob, and hello, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us today to talk about Datawedge. I've spent a good part of the last few weeks updating the documentation for Datawedge 6, and if you're a Datawedge user now and you haven't had a chance to look at the new docs, please do so, and feel free to contact me with any input you might have. It's at techdocs.zebra.com, and TechDocs is available right now for you to look at. So without further ado, let's take a look at Datawedge. Now, if you're not familiar with what Datawedge is, or maybe just to get a basic understanding, let's talk a little bit about what Datawedge is and what it does. Hang on a minute. I'm getting a message that doesn't look good. Can you guys see my slides? So Datawedge is an app that provides data acquisition and
yeah, Eddie, we can see your slides, Eddie.
Okay, yeah, it was just paused for some reason. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So Datawedge is an app on a Zebra device that provides data acquisition and processing services for other apps on the device. So exactly what it does is it acquires data from whatever devices are connected or installed in the device. It can be a barcode scanner, magstripe reader, RFID reader, imager, whatever. And then it processes the data according to simple or complex rules. So a simple rule might be take everything you get and stick it in a field. A complex rule might be take the first 4 characters, skip the next 2 characters, and take the rest and plug it in. Or it can be pad the front with zeros, pad the back with zeros. Rules can accumulate, and they can be very, very complex and sophisticated. So it can pretty much do anything that you want with the data. Then it can also activate itself whenever a selected app is run. So if you have an app on a device that's in your organization, you say, I always want Datawedge to be active when this app is running. You can set it up that way as well. You can import and export settings for mass deployment. So you can say, okay, this device is set up exactly the way I want it to work in my organization. I can export those settings, send them to my MDM, and send it to all the devices in a given location. And then all the devices will behave in exactly the same way. It sends data to a local app or to a network. So if I want the data to be sent to be acquired and sent to a server someplace and stored there for further processing or manipulation or plugged into an application of some other kind, you can do that too. It works on Android and Windows devices, and it supports all major barcode symbologies. So no worries about something that's not compatible. Zebra is constantly updating the symbologies that we support. It also can work as a wireless scanner. So check this out. You can have a device in your warehouse that is scanning data, and instead of saving it to a local app, You can have it send data to a PC over Wi-Fi. So all you do is run a little utility on the PC, and it sits there waiting for data to come in, and then it plugs the data in wherever you want. So it turns the device into a sort of a wireless scanner. So that's pretty handy. And you can reconfigure Datawedge on the fly. So let's suppose that someone in the warehouse says, hey, you know, I just got a shipment and there's a barcode on here and it's not scanning. I don't know how to process this. The guys in IT can quickly create a new configuration, beam it down to the device, and voila, it takes effect immediately. And now the warehouse can immediately receive that shipment. All of these features are done without ever touching any APIs. So you can build your app the way you want and never have to worry that you're going to be able to access the scanning capabilities of a Zebra device. It's all done for you through Datawedge. So now I know what your next question is going to be. Where can I buy this fantastic product? Datawedge is amazing. Well, the answer is you can't buy it because it comes free with every Zebra device. How great is that? I'll pause now and let that sink in a little bit. Okay, now, how does Datawedge work? Well, how does this fantastic, this must be so complicated to set up. Well, guess what? It's really not. It works on the concept of profiles, and these profiles contain settings that determine how data is to be acquired, in other words, through which device, how to be processed, and how to be sent to wherever you need it to go. So let's talk about each of those things a little bit. So profiles generally contain 4 elements. First is the input plugin. That says, okay, get data from a barcode scanner or a magstripe reader or a ring scanner or whatever device you want to get the data from. You tell it which device to look at and get the data from. That's the input plugin. The process plugin says, okay, the data that comes in from that device, here's what I want you to do with it. So this diagram shows a postal barcode. So the first 5 digits are the regular zip code, then there's 4 more that the postal company added to further identify a location, and then there's some additional data that they tack on the back. Well, you can say, okay, only give me the first 5, or you can give me the +4 as well, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And then the output plugin determines where the data should go once it's been acquired and processed. And then, of course, comes the association. So once you've created a profile and you've set up the input, the process, and the output plugins, then you say, okay, apply all of these settings to this application or these applications or whatever. And then you're done. And once that's all set up, again, you can send it to additional devices, deploy it to everyone in your organization, and so on and so forth. A very, very easy to use utility that comes free with every Zebra device. So with that, let's talk about Datawedge 6.0. And for that, I'll turn it over to Tarinda Velagodopoula. He's the senior engineer in Zebra's advanced engineering department. Tarindu, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. I hope the screen can be visible.
Yeah, we can see your slides, Tarindu.
Okay, let me start with welcoming you all, and this is I'm going to talk about what are the features Datawedge 6.0 has, and especially what are the new features that you will get with 6.0. So going on, we support barcode scanning, MSR, and SimaScan document capture in many of the Zebra devices. And then data dispatching capabilities such as keystrokes, intents, and IP output. These features will allow you to get the data that you captured to your application without writing a single code specific to data capturing. So additionally, as Eddie also mentioning a few things, so data processing is possible, and through advanced data capturing or basic data capturing. And the beauty of the Datawedge is that you can specify the configuration to your own application. So different applications can work with different Datawedge settings. So if you want Datawedge to scan barcodes to your one of the applications, and then you need to swipe a credit card and get the data to your payment application, you can do so by configuring Datawedge, and you don't need to write any code for that. Datawedge demo app is an applet that you can use to see the performance as well as the output of data before you try out in your own application. Data Capture Plus is like a virtual button on the screen where you can use it as a trigger button to capture barcodes. I will show you what these capabilities are when we move on the slide deck. The configuration import and export, this is very useful when it comes to mass deployment. You can have your golden device configured, and you can simply export the configuration and extract it and simply push across thousands of devices instantly. So we talk about zero programming or no code at all, but if you are really need to have more control over Datawedge, we have set of programming or the intents you can use to control Datawedge. I will go through them at the end of the slide deck, so in detail. So let's move on. So maybe you have already tried out Datawedge up to 5.0 or 5.1 maybe with new devices. So coming up to Datawedge 6.0, there is a new feature called Disable App List, where you can basically select set of applications which does not require data capturing. So basically, you can have a security over data capturing, and also you can avoid conflicts between application interaction. ADF updates. Previously, we didn't have a way to remove characters from the captured data. You need to basically tweak with whatever the available ADF actions. Now you can simply use single ADF action and remove characters. You can remove it from the front, you can remove it from the end, or you can even remove it from the middle of the data. Escape character support in ADF criteria. One of the major issues or the major problems that customers face was that there are unprintable characters you need to check